Hi guys, I'm Tanya and I'm wearing a lot more makeup than normal because my sister had to do an assessment at college this morning and I was the guinea pig. So I don't normally do haul videos because they make me a bit uncomfortable, but I've actually bought some really good books in the last week since I've been allowed to buy books again and I wanted to share them with you. So this is what this video is. So if you watched my last video, you'll know that I've recently been to Edinburgh and I was actually there over Easter when my Lenten ban on buying books ended. And just around the corner from where I was staying was a massive Blackwell's and it was actually like bookshop heaven. The Blackwell's in Cardiff is very science oriented and they don't actually have a music section. During my degree I had to buy my books from elsewhere and couldn't go into the university bookshop. So going into a Blackwell's that actually had a music section, which was actually kind of huge, was amazing and I was in heaven. And I just bought this one thing to remind me of my holiday and it's kind of weird and nerdy, but it's 69 Scottish folk tunes for the cello. I've had a couple of these kind of books through my lifetime, different folk tunes from different places in them, and I really enjoy them, so I thought I would pick this up and I'm really excited just to have a mess around with it. As well as buying that book in Blackwell's, I also started up what could be a really dangerous habit and began to collect Penguin's Little Black Classics. I have 3 of them here, and even though I haven't actually read any of them yet, I keep finding myself wanting more, and if I walk anywhere near a bookshop I kind of find myself like looking for more Little Black Classics. They're so cute. I have Jane Austen's The Beautiful Cassandra, The Yellow Wallpaper by Charlotte Perkins Gilman. When I've been talking to other people about this, the reason I want to read it is because whilst I was studying at uni, the composer in association for the BBC National Orchestra of Wales wrote a piece based on this work, and I was supposed to go and see the premiere of it, but it was cancelled and it wasn't actually put on for another couple of years and I couldn't go and see it at that point. But I really want to know what this guy was writing about and it was inspired by this book, so I'm at least going to get to read the story even if I can never find the piece to listen to. And finally I bought Circe and the Cyclops by Homer. The biggest frustration of my life whilst I wasn't allowed to buy books was that actually books that I'd really been looking forward to coming out happened to come out in that period of time, and it kind of, you know, made me want to cry. But I finally have a copy of V.E. Schwab's A Darker Shade of Magic. I haven't actually read Vicious yet. I just heard the premise of this book and really wanted to read it, and once I'd picked it up in the shop I really struggled to actually finish the book I was currently reading because I just was in the mood to read this, even though I have no idea if I'm gonna like it or whether I like the author or not. And I'm actually already about a third of the way through it and I'm really enjoying it, so I'm glad that I suffered through not being able to buy it and have had all this tension build up and can finally read it. So one of the booktubers that I really enjoy watching is Max over at Well Done Books, and due to the release of Go Set a Watchman by Harper Lee later in the year, which is kind of like the sequel to Kill a Mockingbird, there's a read along of To Kill a Mockingbird happening during the months of April and May. I read this book in school and absolutely adored it. It's the first book that I can remember reading in school and studying and actually appreciating it more for having studied it, whereas other books I absolutely despised and maintain that I despise to this day, even though I should probably give them another chance. Dickens, Hard Times. I'm super excited to have my own copy of this book because this is probably my favourite school book of all time, which I didn't think would be a thing I would ever have. I'm really excited to get to read it again, and actually I brought it home yesterday and my mum was like, oh, I need to read that, and I'm just getting really excited because every now and then she'll come out with a book that she wants to read that I really approve of, and it makes me so happy. I have not read any Caitlin Moran, and I walked into Waterstones yesterday and her new book How to Build a Girl was on half price offer, as you can see here, and I've seen some interviews with the author about this book and just in general interviews with the author, and I've really enjoyed watching her speak and hearing what she has to say, so I thought I'd pick this up and give it a go. It sounds interesting. It's a kind of coming of age story and a girl decides to completely reconstruct herself effectively into a completely new person who will be everything that she wants to be. And yeah, it just sounds really interesting to me, and I thought I'd pick it up and give it a go, especially as it was half price, so it wasn't as much of a risk as paying the full price for the book. So my final 2 books are also books that I couldn't buy because they came out whilst I wasn't allowed to buy books, and I finally got my hands on them and I'm super excited, which is the general theme of this video. I've been buying too many books and I'm super excited. So I initially picked up All the Bright Places by Jennifer Niven, which has had a lot of hype going on around it recently. Loads and loads of people seem to be reading it and enjoying it. Equally, if people don't like it, they really don't like it. From what I've been hearing about this book, it sounds really interesting and the kind of thing that I really want to read as a contemporary novel, so I'm gonna give this a go. I don't want to try and say what it's about from the summary on the back because I think from what I've heard and what I've read on the back, I do know what it's about, but I don't want to really screw people over and get it wrong, so I'm just gonna say read the back, listen to what other people are saying and see what you think if you want to pick this up. I will have more coherent thoughts on this when I've actually read it, which should hopefully be quite soon. So as I desperately grabbed All the Bright Places, I noticed that it was on the buy one get one half price offer and immediately scanned my eyes over the table to see what other books there might be there that I could buy on the offer just for the sake of it. And lo and behold, what should I see but Hold Me Closer, the Tiny Cooper story by David Leviathan. I kept forgetting that this was going to be a thing, but I'm really excited because it's literally a script of the Tiny Cooper story, which is the musical that takes place within the book Will Grayson by John Green and David Leviathan. So if people ask me what my favourite John Green book is, I will always say An Abundance of Catherines, although actually it is Will Grayson, but I feel that it's not fair on David Leviathan to say, oh yeah, it's my favourite John Green book. It's just one of my absolutely favourite books. I love how it's written and I'm really excited to hear more from Tiny Cooper, and actually I have incredible guilt because I need to read more David Leviathan and it shouldn't have had to have waited until this moment for me to be buying more of his books. But I just have so many books on my TBR that I never quite get around to it. But I'm really excited for this, and it's quite tiny, so it should be quite a quick read. It's quite tiny. Especially as it's written like a script, it shouldn't take that long to read. But I'm still really excited for it because I adored the characters in the original book. So yeah, those have been all my crazy book buying antics over the last week. It kind of completely scrapped the point of trying to save money over Lent by not buying books, but then also that is the amount of books I could have bought in a week before Lent anyway. But as I've been so excited to finally be able to buy them, hopefully they'll get read really soon, and the rate at which I've been moving through my TBR will also carry on, because I've been getting a really good pace on with that during Lent. But yeah, hopefully my TBR will be absolutely minimised by the end of the year, whatever happens, and it will be so glorious. So yeah, I hope you all had lovely Easters, or just lovely bank holiday weekends if you don't celebrate Easter. Yeah, I hope you're all doing well because you're great, and I will see you soon. Goodbye! My eyebrows. This is what people are talking about when I say about my eyebrows.